Fox Biz Alert, is electric car maker Tesla becoming a legit company? Abu Dhabi today joining Daimler in buying a stake in Tesla Motors, you know, the high-end electric car startup by PayPal founder Elon Musk. Tesla also announcing today that it will provide financing for the 120 Grand Roadsters with Bank of America. So now that Tesla is getting up and running with private investor support, why is it only getting $465 million from the government and GM getting $20 billion? Well, our next guest has the answer because he was brought into Tesla to deal with that lovely government of ours. We want to welcome to Happy Hour Diarmuid O'Connell. He is Tesla's VP of Business Development. Wow, you sure you really want that job?
Yeah, well, actually, I love the thesis coming in that we didn't get enough recognition from the government.
Yeah, so how do you square that? Because I know Cody would not want you to get any, but if you look at the comparison between General Motors, which you know is really struggling, and people want them to do more of what you're doing, and you guys only get $465 million in loans. Well, I have to say, in loans, interest loans.
I think it's worth differentiating between the two problems at hand. I mean, the GM and the Chrysler issue is a balance sheet bailout and has to do with the restructuring of an incumbent industry. The program under which our company is being funded is a separate program. It has nothing to do with a bailout. It has to do with stimulating new and innovative technologies. The scale of the funds available is different. Some of the other loans that have been offered to Ford, 5.3, Nissan, 1.6. Ours has to be taken in that context, $465 million.
Diarmuid, here's the only problem I have with this. I remember when you started this car company. I remember the 100. I think it started around 80 grand. It went to 100,000. Now you're around $120,000 for this electric car. We're going to loan you $465 million to develop a car that, frankly, most people won't be able to afford. Why are we doing this as taxpayers?
So I'll pull you back again there. First of all, the Roadster is $109,000, but it's worth saying that these loans have nothing to do with the Roadster business. Has nothing to do with developing the Roadster, has nothing to do with improving the Roadster, has nothing to do with selling the Roadster, opening stores, any of that. It has everything to do with proving the business model, which is essentially the technology introduction business model that's been the success of Silicon Valley. It's getting the $50,000 sedan out there. The business model,
building a $109,000 car.
The business model is like starting the cell phone business, where the first cell phone in 1985 was about $3 grand a pop, and today we get them practically for free. Well, it's very similar in this case. We offer the Roadster, a very niche vehicle at 2,000 units a year at $100,000. We make our second vehicle funded under this program for less than $50,000, and then we go from that point to a $30,000 vehicle at ever greater volumes over the course of a couple of years. And we're collapsing time as much as we can along the way, but it's a perfectly viable model. It's in fact the model that the cell phone and PC business and so many other technology businesses were built on, and frankly it's been the heartbeat of Silicon Valley and arguably the economy of the last 10 years, driven by technology.
You say that it's a viable business model. If it were a viable business model, A, you wouldn't need to be borrowing $500 million at below market rates of welfare money, and on top of that, getting a $7,000, if I personally am rich enough to buy the Tesla, I get a $7,000 check from the government. All of that money could, say, cure children's cancer. You really think that allocating $500 million, risking it on your company, is a better use of money than helping kids with cancer?
You know, I'll deal with the cancer. I want to solve both problems, and as soon as I get past this,
I've got $500 million. You got to allocate it.
So let's talk about this. You used the term moral hazard before. The $7,000 incentive program, that has to do with the fact that there's a moral hazard embedded in the price that we pay for gas right now. It has everything to do with oil dependence or whatever you think about climate change. And so that's to help technology in its infancy get over the hump and people to get over the initial high cost. That's one thing. With respect to the capital that we're borrowing from the government, well, you know, we could borrow in the private market. In fact, we haven't taken $1 from any governmental agency up to this point to develop the company to the point that we have it right now, which is a profitable standalone business. What we're doing in a tough environment to borrow money is collapsing time again. We could go out and borrow the money privately, but have you tried to borrow that kind of money recently?
I tried to borrow and I couldn't.
Right, the terms aren't great. It's all about the terms, right? You can get the money, but the terms aren't market rate.
That's the whole point, is that it's unfair. I can't borrow $500 million at below market rates. If I could borrow $500 million, my company would be rocking too.
Here's the thing about finance. If you had a good, here's the thing about finance. If you had a good project, you could borrow that money.
If I
and
had
you could
good
borrow it under those
project, and I could hire you to lobby the government for welfare money.
Diarmuid,
that's one perspective.
I only wish you started with a $30,000 car, not started with a $109,000 car.
Eventually.
We're going to get there, and we would have started there, but we'd be out of business today, which is why we're starting this one.
We're going to talk about also the Chevy Volt later in the show.
I will say,
which was inspired by what we're doing, frankly, and you can go back to the books on that. Bob Lutz has admitted that the Chevy Volt program wouldn't even exist if the Roadster hadn't proven what could be done with electric vehicle technology. And by the way, American innovation in the
Diarmuid, thank you very much. Please come back. You answered